Y'all ready?
Hello.
Y'all ready for this? Am I loud? Yeah. I might cut some of this part out.
No. I refuse.
Do you want to do the thing where we've been talking over before the intro, or you just want to intro it?
You know, well, we're doing the thing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I know, I kind of like it a lot.
I didn't plan it. We just started doing it one day.
Well, like...
And I just like, no, let's keep going.
What happens is we'll start having a conversation before we start the podcast, and then you'll start the podcast, and we'll just continue the conversation.
It's super Joe Rogan.
Well, what happens?
Yeah.
Where it's just like,
so
you were just a second ago, you were talking about like
what would be
killing small animals or whatever, and he's like, well, you put it in that context, and like,
it would be weird to hang out with people and be like, all right, no one talk until the podcast starts. So
right.
like we're gonna be. Like at work, me and Shane always talk about stuff that we basically talk about on here.
Oh my god.
And then we can't like repeat it. But like to me, I'd rather keep that flow and momentum going instead of telling them to shut up.
Like, I remember that being a thing when we worked together.
Yeah.
Is like we would have like all these like we would talk for like 2.5, 3 hours, like pretty much straight at work. And then we'd get here and we'd be like talked out.
We'd be like, yeah, like what should we say?
Yeah, it's like we
what's
already
our topics. We don't have topics.
Yeah.
It wasn't a problem at work.
Yeah, we had mad jokes at work. Like
that, it was always especially with Tyler and I, because we get super political and anti-religious at work.
Yeah,
we just yell our opinions from the back for everyone to hear.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about how no one was here really. It was just us and Leland, so I was like, oh, we can kind of do it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. We don't even care most of the time.
You're like in the back, and I'm like yelling back at you about like why whatever. I can't remember it. I know we were talking about Jesus a lot, but
yeah. But like, I don't
even want to talk about Jesus. We talk about it too much on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Trump, even though what's happening with him is quite hilarious right now.
Oh my god! Can we? Yeah.
You can say
just touch on it.
You can touch on it.
Yeah, let's do like
no reason to dive because everyone already knows.
Yeah.
And we're all the same thoughts.
It's just so funny.
And
it's just funny.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
It's just a weird thing that's happened because we all joked. He was like, "Oh, I'm not going to," or he's like, "I might concede, I might not. We'll have to see what happens." And then everyone's like, "Well, he can't concede," and he's like, "I'm not going to concede."
Do you ever think he was going to concede? Because he said he would concede if it was a fair election. So from the beginning,
he was setting up the premise that he was going to say it was fake bullshit even back then. No,
that's what he did with the mail-in votes and everything. Yeah. That's like
that was like months before.
That was when Bernie was still running.
Yeah, he was like, I will concede if I think the election is fair.
Planting the seeds of doubt in his true believers for if he gets not elected.
Yeah,
which is like a bitch move, but
honestly, that's what really pisses me off about people saying he's dumb. Though, is like. He is dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb.
But he's like
strategic.
But
he's strategic as fuck.
He knows his people.
Yeah.
He knows what he can get away with. And he did what he had to do. But he set up this idea and premise that fake news exists.
It does, but like it's mostly on his side.
That's how he beat Hillary was half truths.
Yeah.
He takes something that like Hillary is actually crooked. But he's gonna just say whatever the fuck he feels like and say, and that's because she did that. And it's like, well, yeah, she did something bad. But, well, you're just making shit up at this point. And, like, that's what you do with fake news. It's like, yes, the news is actually biased. However, what you're saying is dumb as fuck.
So I think his thing was, if I win, then I win. But if I lose, then I'm going to throw a fit.
Yeah. That's
like, regardless. He wasn't ever going to plan on
all this is right now, all this really is just a fit. And it's only bad because it's like
the president of the United States.
Well, I just feel like the collective of Americans is just getting dumber.
he makes America look stupid.
Like,
I'm not powerful and weak, and our democracy doesn't work.
Luckily, everyone I know who likes like Republicans and Trump is kind of like, yeah, he lost. They're not gonna like fight this. But people in a bubble, like in the South, where everyone agrees that Trump is good and God is real,
I think that's not true either. Just because Georgia won, like a demo, like, and that's only because of that is where a lot of black people live.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like
across the Black Belt,
communities in a bubble where they all agree with each other, they're going to believe that this is a fraud because they're all egging each other on to be. It's literally a hug.
All they're hearing is
it's false. A safe space. Right. It's a safe space, and they're going to egg each other on to keep believing this. And I'm just so glad I don't know people like that. I know people who like Trump, but they're not like that. And I'm that's all I can ask for at this point. People. Really?
Yeah.
Who think it's a fraud?
Yeah. I had my friend John I was telling you about earlier today. I told him we were talking about how Biden won, and I was like, "So Biden won? How you feeling?" He's like, "Yeah, Biden won, but I think there was definitely fraud." And I was like, "No, there's not. Shut up. You're fucking stupid."
I think there definitely was, but I think it was it affected barely. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. And also, I will say that most mail-in votes, I won't say not most. I don't even know what I'm saying. Most mail-in votes counted and were fair, but there were a chunk of mail-in votes that were rejected. And if you're going to say that these are all fraud, the fact that some were rejected because they didn't have the particular correct information down meant some people didn't get their votes counted because they didn't write their middle name correctly or something.
Yeah. And
so if you're going to say there's voter fraud from mail-in ballots, it's like, well, I don't think so. No. I think some probably did slip through the cracks. And what the research shows that some did, but it doesn't even change 1% of the vote.
They've done recounts in Wisconsin and Georgia, and they both came
It's not going to matter. Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about earlier. Is the funny thing is that Trump orders all these recounts, and they came back.
It's just political theater.
And they came back, and Joe Biden still won those states.
Yeah.
Whereas he was like, "Just wait, I'm going to win all these states again because of the fraud," and then it turns out, Joe Biden still wins.
Do you think Trump's impeachment was political theater? A lot of people said when he was being impeached that was pure political theater.
The Democrats didn't push anything.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't even.
They didn't try.
There was lots of different angles they could have gone with, but they went with the Russia stuff.
Nancy Pelosi she was the one leading that, right?
She's big time into it.
She's just a light Republican.
Did we say this on the podcast that she secretly has an affair with Trump? And
I said something about that. Yeah, I said I wouldn't be surprised.
I like that angle. I don't think it's real, but it's got that energy where in private they're fucking
that weird hate fuck energy where they're
right. On it. Yeah, there's something going on there,
which is a lot of politicians, honestly.
Which She was trying to go to some beauty place, and then she didn't have her mask on, and then interviewers ambushed her, and she's like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit." And it's you don't practice what you preach. Of course you don't, because you're Nancy Pelosi. That's who you are. So
yeah.
And
should I intro now?
Nah, no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, welcome. We're already a good bit into the podcast.
Right.
That's how we do it around here now. That's just how it goes sometimes. That's how we do things. We're unorthodox.
This isn't your grandmother's podcast. Right?
This isn't the shit your grandma listens to in the shower.
Yeah, this isn't Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Or whatever. What do grandmas even listen to?
Fucking shit.
Fucking
Chuck Mangione.
What do they listen to?
I don't know.
Gospel music or whatever.
Probably
Did your grandmas ever because we all come from Christian families, right? So
Can I finish the intro?
Fine.
Okay, so I'm Shane. This is our intro. 10 minutes in. I kind of like it though.
I do.
I'm here today with Tyler or Taiwa. His preferred nickname.
Don't like that. That's not my
preferred. Enjoy.
It's not my preferred nickname at all.
Taiwa Weezy.
Ugh.
And Jeremiah is here.
Hi.
Jeremiah's been here a few times in a row now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Just a few times.
Yeah.
Where it's been a slow month.
Yeah.
COVID. We have to keep in our bubble.
Yeah. I feel like we had Jeremiah on for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And he's just been on.
Wait, was it 3 weeks or 2 weeks?
I don't know.
Might have been
time flies by.
I don't remember.
And you guys might be forgetting, but I was on your first ever one too.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, well, no, we've recycled guests before.
That was just a rerun.
We need to. I was thinking about because when we played PT, Sean watched, and I was thinking like, if I called him up, he'd probably want to do it, but I don't have his number. But
he was on here before, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did an episode with us. That's why he watched it, because I think he actually cares about the podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sean if you watch these. I have no idea of knowing unless you comment. So
comment your phone number.
Comment your name, phone number, and address if you watch this.
And I will give you $20 if you put your social security number on there as well.
Not just Sean. Anyone watching, please let me know. The only way I can know is if you put your name, address, and number. So please add me on Snapchat. Don't tell my wife.
Pizza piss boy.
Pizza piss boy. I don't know if you find it. How does it even work?
I don't know.
If you type in their user display, because that's not my username. It's my display name.
Yeah. You have to type in their username.
Yeah.
And then once you add them, you see pizza piss boy.
Yeah.
First time I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? Why?
This girl I was talking to called me Pizza Boy, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to tell you my name.
Pizza piss boy.
Yeah. People don't know it's me all the time, which I like. I like the anonymous factor.
Yeah.
My Instagram is my friend's face too, because
yeah.
I don't want to.
He looks like Filthy Frank.
It's so funny that he makes these funny faces.
He looks like Filthy Frank though.
He's part Japanese. That's why.
I'm just
At least
racist.
I'm assuming.
I'm just racist.
I don't know.
I mean, Filthy Frank is half Japanese too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm racist.
My friend's quarter Japanese, and it kind of shows, and it's weird.
No, like the first time when I added you on Snapchat, we weren't actually like good friends.
Yeah.
Like we are now, because that was like right before we started doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I added you on Snapchat to make like the podcast group chat.
Right.
So I saw a Pizza Piss Boy and I was like, what the fuck is this guy? Why is he named Pizza Piss Boy? But I also found it fucking hilarious.
I'm into the I'm into like the culture of like just not trying at all on social media.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people like to follow, like there's this girl that I follow who is known for having like lots of tattoos, and her name is Florida Man. Like stuff like that's funny to me. Or like this, I don't know. I don't want to like expose who I follow on Twitter, but like there's a lot of like really funny people on Twitter.
Like, have you ever seen my my Instagram posts on my actual Instagram?
Yeah, but which
with
one?
like the ones where I'm with two other girls and like
pimpin'?
Yeah,
Big Pimpin'. Yeah, I remember when you first showed me that.
Yeah, I thought that's fucking, that cracks me up every time I see it.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
Stuff like that is funny, yeah.
Because I'm doing it ironically.
Yeah.
Like to make fun of people.
Yeah, that's the best stuff.
Yeah.
I
put it as like my my user picture for like everything because I think it's so funny.
You with like underage girls?
Well, there were girls my age.
Yeah, I know.
At the time.
I know, but it's an underage picture. but yeah, it was only like a year ago. Yeah, it was only like a year ago. But it's funny.
Well, I guess they were 17 at the time, which is the age of consent.
That is weird to think about.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people will be like, if you date an 18-year-old, you're basically a pedo anyway. And I think it's inappropriate for someone my age to date an 18-year-old. But I don't think it's inappropriate if you're like 20-something to date an 18-year-old.
So I like the rule of divide your age in half and add 7.
Okay.
And that's like where it's like
7.
Cool.
I guess.
So like for me, 23, that's you round down, I guess. I don't know, round up, round down.
11 plus 7, 18.
Yeah.
Mine's like 17.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You. I think if you're
9, 16. Wait, hold on.
Well, I think I mean I used to know people who are 18 who would date like 14-year-olds. I think that's kind of weird.
That's weird, but 18 and 16 isn't weird.
18 and 16 is not that weird.
It's still illegal.
Is it? I don't
think
it is.
No, there's the
I think it's a few years apart you're allowed to.
Yeah, what do they call it? It's like the Cinderella, Romeo law. Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, because
but that's only if you're dating, if you're both like, okay, so say I'm 17, I'm dating a 16-year-old, and then I turn 18 and I'm still dating that girl, then I think the Romeo and Juliet law applies.
No, but I think you can.
No, so long as you like went to school together, you're allowed to.
No one's gonna fucking report an 18-year-old for dating a 16-year-old. No one's gonna be like, oh, he's a fucking pedophile. Like, no.
It's still kind of sus though.
It's weirder if you are like already in college when you meet a high school girl.
Yeah.
But if you're dating her already, it's definitely not weird.
Okay,
or if you knew her, if you knew her before, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Like if I was friends with a junior girl, And then
right.
When I was a senior, she was a junior, and then I graduated, go to college. She's a senior now.
Right.
That's not weird.
And
but me dating a junior as a freshman in college, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's typical that girls date guys who are older than them. So I just, to me, the idea that like you can only date someone 1 year younger than you is like crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, once I was in my 20s, I didn't ask girls how old they were, because we would drink at the bar, so they're at least 21.
Yeah.
But then
I think
I was dating a girl, and after like a few months, I didn't know she was like only 22, and I was like, oh dude, there's a huge age gap.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, like, well, you didn't. But like,
look at him.
What'd you say?
Jenna.
Oh.
I did. She's. How old is she? How old is she?
I don't know.
I thought you said pedo.
That's what I thought you said virgin. I was like, wait, you're way off base.
No, I said Jenna.
Oh.
Tyler's like, yeah, I sleep with underage girls all the time. Like,
no, I know she was like over 21 because she would drink at the bars together.
Yeah.
But then I was like. And then when she started acting sus all the time and like emotional and angry, I was like, maybe I shouldn't date girls who are like 22. Just not even close to my age.
Yeah. I think,
but like it's so normal though at the same time to date girls younger than you.
I think if you're 20, it's like okay to date an 18 and 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And like when you're 21, it's kind of.
You still have to recognize that you're older though.
Yeah.
You've had more life experience, even if it's a few years.
You still. Like,
it doesn't really.
If you're 20,
it's not really equal until you're like 25. When you're dating someone 22, it's like, oh, that's not that different.
Yeah, because when you're 20 and someone's 18, they're being a freshman in college and you're a junior or senior.
Right.
You've just been like through more shit. You probably have a house or like an apartment or something.
Yeah. So when the Smash community was all turned out to be pedos and rapists, a lot of people talked about power dynamic struggles, and they brought up a lot of aspects I didn't think about. I think is really interesting. So obviously, there's a power dynamic when someone is underage for a lot of reasons, especially if they still rely on their parents and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You're not equals if they rely on your parents and you don't. Now, if you're like the girl I was dating had her own place and I didn't have my own place, so even though she's younger than me, she still had her shit more together than I did. So there wasn't much of a power balance there.
Mm-hmm.
Just like imagine if they don't have a car and you do, they don't have money and you do, but even imagine if they don't have very many friends and you introduce them to your friend group and they start thinking about breaking up, but they know in the back of their mind once they dump you, they have no friends again and no one's gonna have their back and no one's gonna stand up for them, and you can say whatever you want about them and they just are totally vulnerable to you. So there's a lot of weird dynamics there that you have to be aware of as an adult, not to put yourself in those situations. And teens really have no awareness of that because they're just trying to fucking date someone. So
trying to get laid,
trying to get some pussy, some ding dong. If you're a girl or a gay man,
I think it's sus when people who can drink or like people who are 21 date people who are under
and then
20,
give them alcohol.
Well, yeah.
Like
not even that, but like
as part of dating is like they're a supplier or something or
that. Yeah, that's sus.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Like when there's this dude's totally a fucking rapist pedophile guy.
Yeah.
Who would date girls in high school. He was over 21, so 100% pedophile. But he would like sus. he would throw house parties and invite high school kids over. Like he's literally a creep. He's a bad person.
Yeah.
But they thought it was fine because they're getting alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works. Yeah.
Like even like when you go out on dates and you go out with someone 20, like I guess that's fine, but like if you drink and they're like, oh, I can't drink.
I think 19 or 20 is fine to buy someone else alcohol.
Oh yeah,
only just because it's retarded anyway.
Right, but saying
like a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old or an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, that's kind of that's creepy.
Yeah. But it's like a weird dynamic when you're 21 and you go out with someone who's like 19 or 20, and then what do? Do you like refrain from drinking?
I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't really start drinking in public till I was 22.
Yeah.
But when I was like 22, 23, and my friends hung out with people who were like in their 20s, like still just like 20 or 19,
Yeah.
It was like, why do we even invite them? Because I want to fucking get drunk. I'm like in my early 20s, man. I don't want to fucking hang out with them. Like, I want to go to bars and drink. So, like, it was just weird.
Right. I don't know. I think that's...
You do have to... The thing is, man, when you're in your early 20s, you think you're still the same as, like, 17-year-olds. But you're not.
I mean, in some ways, you still are. But there's
some ways you are, yeah.
Some ways you are, and you only focus on those.
Right.
But so there is a major difference between me. I'm 23. Between me and a 17 or an 18-year-old, there's a massive amount of difference.
And sometimes you can have a conversation with them, and you're like, "We're the same." But the reality is you're not.
That's the only thing. They can they're finally to the age where they can hold a conversation. Yes. But it's usually boring.
Thank you.
Yes. When we met Shane...
Not you, I meant 16, 17-year-olds.
Oh, I think... How old were you when you first started the bakery? 16? 17?
Yeah.
16. Yeah, because I just I can talk to any high schooler about video games. So me and Shane talk about video games a lot.
Right, yeah.
And then I'm having a harder time talking to the high school girls because I have not much in common with them. So I'm just like, well...
I actually do. I find it a little bit difficult.
You do?
Sometimes.
I usually do. There's a couple, I don't know, high school girls where I work. I usually do all right, just because I
talk to them about growing up and I don't want to name drop people, but you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I talk to them about where are you at in your life?
Yeah, exactly. Talking about school or whatever.
Oh, I remember when that shit happened. That shit sucks. Here's my advice. That's what I do.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah. COVID actually made it a lot easier too, because you can be like, man, this fucking blows, right? And everyone's gonna agree with you.
Right. Well, we're all in the same boat.
My little sister's still in high school, so I can kind of relate to them.
Yeah.
And I just got out of high school, so I mean I know what it's like.
Yeah.
So I do talk to him about high school, and I'm like, yeah, high school fucking blows.
Yeah, high school blows chunks.
College is a lot of fun.
College is much better. College, they treat you more like an adult, and I think it's important to not baby kids. Not baby high schoolers. Being baby kids, want, but high schoolers, they need to start accepting responsibilities.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much the school babied you until I got out.
Yeah.
And then
they don't let you have any choices of your own. Mm-hmm. You feel like you have more choices because of grade school, but grade school, you're basically a monkey. You're basically an animal. You don't have cognitive thoughts.
You're an animal that can speak.
Yeah, you barely function.
You have no empathy yet. I mean, you remember being in
you feel like a human.
You just have a sense of life.
Yeah, you think you understand things, but everything changes.
Yeah, at that time you haven't developed your emotionally yet.
Yeah,
you don't know, and then puberty hits, and you're emotions.
You do have a sense of logic.
Yeah,
and some of the thoughts I had as a kid are interesting. But it's just everything is so different when you hit 17, 16-ish.
Something crazy I believed in when I was a kid?
What's that?
God.
Got him. we were talking about even as kids, we were we believed in it, but we were still kind of some things don't quite add up. But you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle when you're a kid. It's hard to do that.
It's harder to think outside of the box when you're a kid like that.
Yeah,
and it is now.
When I think about my thoughts.
Wow,
as a kid, I know I questioned everything all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But, I never pulled the trigger on it. And I don't even know why. And it's just because, once I hit 15, I was like, God's not fucking real.
Yeah. Dude, I was in 6th grade, and I was like, there's no fucking way God's real. Yeah. And then I went to that Big Stuff camp for the first time, and I was like, God's fucking real. I love God.
Yeah.
And then...
Didn't you go to,
those weird, propaganda camps.
Yeah.
Or, because there was that, and then there's the Toby Mac one, where you go play music. Well, a bunch of my friends went to that.
All I know is Big... Do you know what Big Stuff is?
I only know about it because it's Savannah.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I went to Big Stuff, and I was like, God's real. I fucking love God.
Doing stuff as a community can be powerful, and it can move you in a way that feels spiritual.
But it's just you're feeding off other people's energy.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. That's a positive thing. I wish as a race we could do stuff like that, collect ourselves together as a community for other things that have nothing to do with religion, though. That would. But it's hard to do that, honestly.
This is gonna sound weird, but I'm very much a person who feeds off other people's energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
There's a certain energy in the room. I can pick up on that pretty quickly and match it.
Yeah.
So when people are like hype, I get fucking hyped. I get turned. Yeah. When people are sad,
well,
I'm like,
go to a concert. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So when I went to big stuff, there was so much energy and like, because they would have concerts and there was so much energy, I would be like, oh, this is what it feels like to worship God. When really I was just feeding off all the energy in the room. I was misinterpreting it.
Were you one of those kids that would like run up to the stage and like fall down crying and like profess your love for Jesus?
No, I'm very shy in crowds like that.
Okay.
I would raise my hands because everyone else was doing it, and I'd be like, I don't want to be the one guy not raising my hands.
Bro, but you weren't like into it though. You just
I was into it, and then I was like,
I've never liked that.
And then like my third or fourth time, I was like, God, fucking Christian music sucks ass. I hate it.
Yeah.
And then they forced me to go to the concerts because you had to go because it would be a concert than a sermon.
Yeah.
And I would sit there like listening to songs. I'm like, songs
I like there's certain hymns I really like.
Yeah, the hymns are fucking
but
Johnny Cash will do like a hymn like
not good,
just the modern like any fucking
the pop it was pop punk when I was a kid, but I don't know what it is now.
It's like modern shit rock.
When I think Skillet went really hard though.
No, well, it's like when I was in high school it was like screamo stuff was all Christian bands. Every Christian band was fucking screamo.
That's awesome.
And it's so funny.
I would have preferred that.
Because, like, you couldn't even hear the lyrics, so it's like, you don't have to be Christian, because you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, there was, like, Skillet, Cutlass,
dude, all of them.
1,000 Foot Crutch,
they're all singing about Jesus.
But, like, they were less obvious about it, too. Like, and a lot of times, like, you could just enjoy the song, but if you were a Christian, you enjoyed that aspect. This isn't screamo,
but POD was, like, a super successful band.
Yeah.
And this song is so cringy, but that I Feel Alive song, where it's like, I feel so alive.
Yeah.
It's the cringiest 2000's rock song ever, but when it comes on, like, the point, I crank it up, and I hate that music. But I'm just like, this is so bad that it's like it's like All-Star. It's like Shrek.
Yeah.
It's so bad, but I did like, you know what, I'm going to sing along to it because I love it. Like, it's hard to explain because now I unironically love that song. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to watch an action movie where like something cool, like I want to see a movie of like a skateboarder going off a ramp.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel so alive. He's like doing like tricks. Like, yeah, that's awesome. I want that energy, man.
Do you know Katy Perry started touring with POD whenever she was a gospel singer? It's how she started out her career.
That makes sense. I think Christian entertainers, I think that's a thing for sure.
Yeah.
Like people start out singing because of church, then they're like, I'm gonna just do woke shit now. I'm gonna be hip. I don't care about Christianity anymore.
So yeah, like I think like freshman year was the last time I went, and I was like already like, God's probably not real. And I was like, this music really sucks. Can you?
Yeah, keep talking. Yeah.
I was like, this music really fucking blows. I hate it. It's so bad. Like, I couldn't get over the music. And then like,
is Big Stuff Baptist?
I don't know.
I bet they are.
Methodist.
Methodists are just hardcore Baptists.
My church was Southern Baptist.
Okay. Yeah.
But, like,
I liked it actually, but
yeah. Well, like, I don't know. I couldn't get over the music. And the messages, all the sermons sounded the same to me. Like, they all had the same message and shit. Like, they were the same exact story. I was like, this is just fucking boring now. I don't find any joy in this.
This is Kool-Aid, bro.
I thought it was pretty good.
Well, I was gonna try that one, but
we finished off the cranberry. All that's left is this one.
Yeah. No, I'm not touching the raspberry. If you're making that kind of face with it,
it tastes like raspberry. I'll say that.
It doesn't.
It's probably that like.
Anyway, let's keep talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Let's not talk about that right now.
So, the first time I smoked weed, I looked up and I was like, "God's not real. Yeah. I'm declaring it now."
Yeah.
And then I was waiting for like a lightning bolt.
Dude, I was in my backyard. I would go outside in my backyard to think, and I would like look up the stars, and I was like, nothing's out there. I was like, it was a moment.
So cynical.
Dude, it's a moment when you do that though, because you're so used to having an inner monologue with what you think is God. Yeah, that's much better. You're used to having like an inner monologue with who you think is God, but really you're just talking to yourself.
It's just your conscience.
Yeah, and you're
which
just like,
honestly,
might be helpful as a kid, but
it's probably helpful as an adult.
Well,
I just talk to myself.
To basically, like that's basically meditation.
I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah, well, because what am I gonna do? Just wait? just wait till I meet someone again. I'm not gonna wait till I have to see someone to talk about shit. I'm just talk to myself. Yeah.
Which is sometimes dangerous if you do it too much because you get inside your own head and you think you're right about everything.
There's a game, it's like an indie game that made an RPG maker, but you play as a depressed man, and most of the game is him doing very mundane things and having normal conversations with people, and then it cuts to like these black screens, and it's just him pretending to talk to people, what he really wants to say and shit, and he's like pretending he's a stand-up comedian, but then like instead of being funny, it just gets to him talking about his actual life and how it's kind of pathetic, and he's like, this is me if I was on a talk show. Blah, 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 blah. Like, what would I do in these situations? And they're always just like, they just get like really depressing. And then at the end of the game, he kills himself. But
oh my god, okay.
It's just like this thing where it's like, I'm like, this is so real. Like, no one talks about this.
Yeah.
How people talk to themselves. But
when I was a kid, I always knew that like I was talking to myself.
Oh yeah.
It never bothered me that because you have a literal voice in your head that you can hear.
Well, I knew that was me, but I thought someone was listening. I thought God was listening. I didn't think he was talking back to me.
Yeah. I thought.
But I thought God was listening to me. I wasn't thinking that I was talking to God in my mind.
The first time I jerked off.
Okay.
I was so scared that God was mad at me. I like cried. I was like.
I still believed in God when that. I think I also still believed in God when that happened.
It was so funny. Now that I think about it, I felt so guilty and like
I was one of those Christian slutty kids where I turned that part of my brain off. I was like, God's not watching this part. Whenever I like look up porn or something, I'd be like, God don't care. I'm not worried about that right now. I would literally
think to myself, God's watching me jerk off right now. And then I would instantly get flaccid.
I would think about sex and like nudity. I would think about like literally people fucking against the pews at church because I was like in middle school. And that's what you do. When you're in middle school, you just look around and you're like, what would it be like? And you think about people like fucking in the bleachers and shit. You just think about sex constantly.
Yeah, because you're fucking horny all the time.
And I just was rolling with it because it was like, this is what's on my mind, and I'm gonna just go with what's on my mind.
I want to talk more about our the voice in our heads.
You don't want to talk about jerking off?
I just wanted to
say that. Come on, tell us.
I just want to go back to that because we had a really interesting dialogue going. I already told you.
Fine. Okay, let's talk. Well, yeah. But basically, yeah, I was just like talking to myself outside, and I was like, no one's listening to me. Everything I do on my own, no one hears that. It's just me.
Yeah.
No God. And I was like, this is so weird to be like, to admit that.
Yeah. It feels freeing almost.
Yeah.
Like this giant weight lifts off your shoulder.
It does. It feels weird. You feel like a different person. It's a spiritual experience in itself.
It's literally like, you know how you've been baptized. It feels like...
I was baptized when I was like 7 or something.
I was re-baptized like whatever. And you feel like awesome and you're like, woo! And then it's like... But you feel like a heavy like responsibility. Because you're like, okay, well now I have to stand for what I think my morals are.
Right.
It's like the complete opposite.
I was really into the conviction of it all when I was a kid. I was really into all that stuff. I was into being, but like, is it because of God or is it because I really like superheroes? I always go back and forth. I really think the reason why I was such a moral kid was because I just really like superheroes, and I like Jedi more than Sith. That's just me.
Yeah.
I really don't think Christianity affected my morals at all. But I was into it.
But once you come to this realization that God's not real and you say God's not real, it feels like that entire weight like comes off your shoulders and you don't have to worry about faith anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to explain unless you've gone through it. It is like a spiritual awakening in itself.
It's one of those things where it's like there's limitless possibilities. You can be a contrarian now. You can just you can question things more clearly, basically.
Right. Because before you were like, you couldn't think critically or question things.
I think
for fear of upsetting God, or
I think getting away from religion is the only way you can truly know who you really are.
Yeah.
Because basically atheism inspires critical thought, and that's, because I think critical thinking is important, but yeah, critical think. I think a lot of people don't think critically about a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
I think people think what they think they're supposed to think, and they say that out loud. And people who aren't Christian, they do it. They'd be like, oh. Here's my thing. I like the Green Lantern movie, But because Deadpool made fun of the Green Lantern movie, it's like you're supposed to not like the Green Lantern movie. And you talk to people, they just be like, oh yeah, the Green Lantern movie's so bad. I'm like, well, what do you not like about it?
Yeah.
You know, right now...
The CGI.
Well, here's the thing. CGI was usually shitty, so I just got over it. But I don't think it's a good movie, but there's things about it. It doesn't... People are like, it's the worst super... No, it's not.
No, it's got good elements.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Have you seen Wolverine Origins? I mean, come on. That movie's terrible. When Deadpool makes fun of that movie, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
But you can't, like, think the way you could if you are religious, because you got to keep your faith in check.
You can't question certain
things. You can't question certain things, because then you're like, oh, wait a second, God's not real.
Yeah.
Because you want to keep that faith.
Right. So you can just think anything you want now.
Yeah, it's like, it's free. You can question everything.
Yeah, and I think that's what, like, I think if people want to get into philosophy, I think a lot of people who, like, are really religious have a hard time accepting a lot of that stuff. Like, whenever you're studying the philosophers who are very spiritual, it's easy to understand. And then, like, when it gets to the people who, like, reject religion, like, kids in my class just could not... They couldn't do it.
Right.
They're just like, he's just wrong. And I was just like, that's not the point. We're studying him, you know? You don't have to believe in him. You have to, you're studying him.
You can look at something and be like, okay, that's wrong, but you can still study it and see where he's coming from and why he would believe that. And that's like what critical thinking is.
I think why they can't do it is because if they understand his point, they have to defeat that point in order to still believe what they believe.
Right.
And so that was philosophy class in college, but in high school, they did this interesting thing where only my senior year, where you could take an elective class that also doubled as like your English class. So I took science fiction class, and where we basically, that's why I read Frankenstein for the first time, and Handmaid's Tale, and Android Dream of Electric Sheep, and all that stuff. And in that class, one of the first days, my teacher said, like, so one of the interesting questions that no one can determine is, can God create a rock so heavy, or stone so heavy, that even he can't lift it? And it's a paradox, because if he can do it, then he can't lift it. It means he can't do everything. Mm-hmm. But if he can lift it, that means he can't make a stone so heavy he can't even lift it. It's one of those things, like, humans can't comprehend these kind of things. So, and it's like, kids in the class just were like, this is bullshit. Like, they were like not into that paradox. They're like, God can just do it. He can just lift it. I'm like, yeah, but then he can't do everything.
Right.
And they didn't understand that.
But they it's not that,
because you can't answer that. Humans just can't answer that.
It's not like how can I?
It's just an interesting.
They don't want to think about it, because then it makes them question their faith.
Right.
So they just pass it off as stupid and ignorant.
Right. They just say they hate it. They say they don't like it.
Yeah.
People say Da Vinci Code. They just don't like it. I'm like, why don't you like Da Vinci Code?
You cannot like something.
Just explain why.
Explain why. But you can not like something and still study it and understand where that person is coming from, or that idea. Like,
I think it's okay to say you disagree with someone, but you can't explain why, and say, let's put a pin in it and I'll come back to it later. Because if you're not actually convinced to not agree with your old opinion, you don't have to concede just because you can't argue it very well. Just because you're losing a debate. Debates aren't shit. Debates are just shouting and fallacies and rules. It has nothing to do with what you actually believe in. So if you're losing a debate, doesn't mean you have to like stop believing what you want to believe.
Right.
You can put a pin in it and come back later. Because I've done that before and been like, hey, remember when you yelled at me and called me stupid, and now you completely agree with me because you were wrong at the time? Like, that's just how it is.
Well, like, I hate that, because fuck, I forgot where I was going with that.
Critical thought? I don't know.
No.
Not being able to accept what other people believe.
Right. Christians especially, they're just like, no, that can't be true. Or I hate the argument
so quiet.
I hate the argument where, you say something in the Bible, or like something like the 900-year-old man from the Bible, and I'm like, that's physically impossible. We're like, it is possible because of God.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a strong argument at all. That's not an argument you can make to someone who doesn't believe in God.
Yeah.
Because for you, yeah, you believe in God, and that would make sense to you.
Right.
But for me, God doesn't exist.
And that's what a lot of Republicans do with like, well, it's I'm right because of fake news, or they always have a thing they can lean on, but like it doesn't work for anyone who doesn't believe in it. At that point, it's not about getting people to believe in it; it's about reassuring their belief.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's literally just about it's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you earlier, my friends got really mad at me because I proved something from the Bible to be false, which most of it is, and they're like, "No, it actually happened."
None of it actually
this is what the Bible says.
I promise you, I stand by that, but nothing actually.
They were like, "This is what the Bible says," and I said, "Your Bible's wrong," and they got so pissed at me, and I was like, even when I was Christian, I always took everything in the Bible with a grain of salt. Yeah. I never thought that all the stories were factual.
I did.
I thought that some of them were.
I did, but I couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I didn't think evolution wasn't real either. I just thought they both work together in some way. I just
that's what I thought as well. There was like some stories where I was like, okay, this is true, and then there's other stories where I'm like, this isn't true. This is just a metaphor or a story to teach you a lesson. Which
they're definitely all moral lessons. None of them are not moral. They're not. They're not historical. They're not just like telling you something just because it actually happened.
And I made this point earlier. The Bible was written. Like the words from the Bible were passed down orally, or the stories from the Bible were passed down orally from generation to generation until eventually it was written down. Yeah. So who knows what the actual first story or how it actually happened 5,000 years ago when the Earth was made? Yeah. So like
5,000 years. Earth is 5,000 years.
Because it was passed down until someone's like, it's the same thing with Homer's Odyssey. Yeah. Homer's Odyssey was an oral story passed down until it was written when written language was invented.
The Epic of Gilgamesh was like that too.
I was about to ask you if you knew about the Epic of Gilgamesh much, because
I think
it's like one of the oldest recorded stories in history.
That and the Book of Job in the Bible are the two that are like.
Gilgamesh's story is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
He's like a guy, and the gods are like, fuck this guy, and they create a guy to fight him, and then those two guys become friends. They're like, he's like, this guy's too cool. Gilgamesh is too cool.
I'm gonna have to read that.
And then Gilgamesh and the guy are like, fuck the god. And then I think they kill the gods if I'm not wrong.
Is that from like Mesopotamia?
Yeah.
Because Gilgamesh sounds.
It's about like Babylon and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pre-Babylon.
Yeah, it's about like he becomes like the king of humanity. Like it's like literally the first hero story, basically.
Is the story of Gilgamesh in the Bible?
No.
No. This has nothing to do with that.
They do bring up Noah. Whoa. They do bring up Noah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Towards the end.
But yeah.
The old man they meet, who's like, there's something about a flood and like an old man.
Oh wow,
and it's like
amazing.
supposed to be Noah.
That's awesome.
I told Tyler this that obviously the Great Flood never happened like the Bible tells it. It didn't fucking cover the entire earth.
Yeah.
It was probably like they've already proved that it was just near the Dead Sea in that like one area.
The Indus River Valley.
Yeah.
Flooded really bad.
And there were like stories in Mesopotamia way before Noah.
Yeah.
About people surviving in arks during the Great Flood.
Right.
And it was really just like a house.
Yeah.
Like that's just a big house that's like made out of wood so it floats.
What I told Shane today at work was like, I totally believe people survived floods on arks. I don't believe fucking someone got 2 of every goddamn animal that is currently existing right now. Yeah, including the ones that also... He had dodos on there too, that all the fucking species of everything that eventually became extinct. Yeah.
Like dodos were on an island.
He had everything.
Like the South Pacific or something.
He had penguins and shit.
Like that makes no fucking sense.
Giraffes, elephants, lions, penguins, deers, elks,
and how can
alligators, everything.
How can one family repopulate the entire fucking earth without the babies dying?
That's the other thing. It did not happen. We're not incestual beings.
And we would have some way to prove
Technically, we are though.
Okay.
If you go back if you go back into evolution, we like fuck the shit out of our siblings.
Oh well, yeah, but I don't.
But we all didn't come from one family.
Humans did.
No, but we didn't.
Our subspecies did.
But like,
because there's a point where we clearly like break off from like Neanderthals and the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
and then we like fuck some Neanderthals and we fucked our siblings and then fuck some more Neanderthals and like.
Yeah.
But like, that was very long, not 5,000 years in the past. Whereas
no.
Whereas like 5,000 years in the past, if Noah were to do that, we would all be fucked.
Yeah. If we're talking like exclusively humans, people fucking their own family members will eventually create mutations, and it's not like viable.
My problem with that story is mostly that's where people get a lot of racism from against black people.
Right.
Is because of so basically it's kind of implied that like one of Noah's sons like kind of like molested him when he was passed out drunk in the Bible.
Noah's son molested Noah?
Yeah. It was Ham was his name.
Yeah.
And they say that's where he got cursed in the Bible, and they say that's where all black people come from, and that's why it was okay to do that was the excuse back during slavery, because they were like, well, clearly we're not gonna like enslave the Irish, like fuck the Irish, but they're not slaves. And they were like, but you know, these black people, like,
yeah, because I was talking
God hates them,
about I was talking about the Tower of Babel, because the Tower of Babel is where different languages are supposed to have come from.
Yeah,
because
which doesn't make sense at all.
The point is that they were building a tower to heaven, and then God made them speak different languages, so that way they couldn't communicate, so they had to stop. But so it's like, in order to believe in Noah, you have to also believe in Tower of Babel. Problem with Tower of Babel is that this is a story about people trying to climb to heaven, and God going, oh no, they're climbing into the sky to heaven, I have to stop them. And then now we just fly and we go to outer space.
You look at it metaphorically.
Well, yeah, if you look at it metaphorically, but if you believe in it literally,
which
again, people who believe in Noah literally, I would say have to. That implies you'd have to also believe in Tower of Babel literally. And I think that's just the silliest story of all time, because we literally fly in the sky all the time, and then there's no heaven in the sky.
If Noah repopulated the entire Earth, we would have some kind of genetic resemblance to each other.
Well, yeah, that too.
We would that's what
I was saying. I think Tower of Babel would be like, that's where we all became different, I guess. But yeah, it's just weird.
And
like, none of it makes sense. It's literally supposed to be just stories passed down to teach you. It's literally just bedtime stories, if you really think about it. It's literally just supposed to be moral lessons
about raping and killing.
It's just supposed to be like, look, man, if there's a giant, hit him with a slingshot. Okay, that's the story. Okay, that's the story. You'll become a king someday.
Here. This raises a question that I think some people are afraid to talk about. Mm-hmm. But if you have kids, what are you gonna tell them that God's not real? And
that is an interesting thing where a lot of people are like, I don't believe in it, but I still kind of want my kids to grow up believing in stuff like that.
Because it's interesting. It's hard to imagine when you're young that like when you see a family member die, it's comforting to think that you'll meet them in heaven one day.
But I never thought that as a kid.
Okay, well, I'm still saying like the concept of that is comforting for children.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, but I never really thought it. I always thought death was a bad thing, and
well, yeah, but like
I never really thought of it as meeting them in heaven. I thought of them as looking down at me.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any idea of what they thought or saw of it. I'd be like, well, you're seeing me poop, Grandma. I don't know what you want from me. It was
always comforting to me that, you know, they're not gone forever. You would still see them one day.
I think it's hard.
And people make that argument like kids can't comprehend death the way we can.
I think it's bullshit.
And that it would scar them to think that death is the end. And there's nothing after.
Yeah, 100% disagree with that.
I disagree with that too. I think kids can comprehend it just as well.
Because when you're
at least once they get object permanence.
Yeah.
When you're a Christian, you don't think animals go to heaven, and I would tell you, man, when you're a kid, your dog dying is gonna hit you way more than your great aunt's dying. So, I never had a death that was close to me when I was a kid. Whenever I went to a funeral, it was just some person, even if they're related to me, it's just some person.
Yeah. And
I never really cared. Honestly, I think the reason why people have this thought exercise of like, am I going to teach my kids to believe in God, and then maybe one day it's okay if you don't believe, is because we grew up that way. We grew up Christian, but the reality is, plenty of families do it all the time, and it's not a fucking issue. And so I just think that there's no point in doing it. I think I wouldn't. But thing is, it's me because I didn't grow up that way. That would be an experiment in itself. That it'd be a learning experience for me if I raised a kid not religious, because I don't know what a non-religious household even looks like.
Right.
So
same for me. Like, oh god, my dad's like, not. He's kind of religious, but not really. All of my sisters, Savannah, Sophie, and my mom, all super religious.
Yeah, I knew Savannah was. I assumed the rest of your family just because Savannah.
But my dad's kind of iffy on it. He'll go to church because my mom wants to. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Classic dad move.
I really hope that's not me one day.
Oh no, I'm like,
why
would I go to church? I don't believe in it.
That's what I say.
But they're like, but you will. You have to get into heaven. And I'm like, fuck, we're not going to go to heaven though. You don't understand. We're not going to go to heaven. I told that's the point.
When my grandma died, my mom brought up something I said to her when I was 15. I didn't realize it fucking stuck with her that hard. I told her we're like computers. When you power it off, it's just off. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I said the souls don't exist. And that really stuck with her. And she was like, and I always think about when you told me that, and souls exist. Souls totally exist. And that's like your conscious. And when you die, your conscious lives on. And I'm like, no, that's your brain. That is your brain. There's a, you remember when Trevor was showing you Don Hertzfeldt stuff, like the rejected cartoons, like my anus is bleeding and all that great stuff? He has a movie on Netflix called I'm So Proud of You. And I was already like, I didn't believe anymore anyway. I didn't believe in souls. I already was like, souls are definitely not real, because that's just weird. But he said, like, he was like, it was about a guy who's got like a lot of nervous breakdowns and he has weird abstract thoughts. And he was like, sometimes I just look at people and all I can see them are just as floating brains. We have these bodies, but really it's just a brain that controls everything. And it was just like, literally just like, it just turned to like people making no noise and no one's talking to each other, and just brains acting like humans. They're just brains and they just keep going by each other. It's so weird, but that's how it is on the inside, under everything. That's all we are. And that's why I say we're like computers, because we're just like chips or something, or like we're like a car. It's just like an engine or something, you know? It's not like how we see each other is not real. It's really weird to think about, but that's how it really is.
When you realize,
people are like, that's your soul. I'm like, that's not your soul. It's
right.
It's like literally lights. It's just lights, man. It's
I love it how
blood hitting things.
I love it how in the past there was a lot of demon possessions, but now they're just seizures because that's what they were.
Right. Did I say this joke when we watched The Exorcist? Great movie.
No.
But I was with my friends and one girl was like, I heard it's like the scariest movie of all time. I was like, well, yeah, but it came out when people believed in God. They thought it was real. They thought that could really happen.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know that's why I think people just thought it was scary because it has really fucked up imagery. But
yeah.
It's got really good graphics for...
Dude.
It
does.
Effects.
No, that movie holds up. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't even believe people thought it was scary because they believe in God. I think just like the first time you see something that's really off-putting,
and back in that
it
time,
makes you want to vomit. Yeah, like you remember when those screamers popped up when it's just like a picture and then something pops up and it's got a loud noise.
Yeah,
it's the scariest shit in the world because it's just like a weird. You go
into a flight or
it's just it's a weird picture.
Flight.
It's a weird picture, and you don't get a good look at it. And then like the more you see them, the less they affect you because you're like it's like a Photoshop little boy. Mm-hmm. Like Jeff the Killer, that popular creepypasta, is like a Photoshop dog that looks like a human, and people are so scared of it. Yeah. And I'm like, but the more I look at it, I'm like, it's just a fucking face. I don't know what it is. It's just not scary. But like when you first see something that gross and off-putting, it just makes you so uncomfortable. And people are like, they associate that uncomfortableness with fear. But when we play PT, and you hear her like moaning in the background. The first time you play it, that's so uncomfortable. But is that fear? But it kind of is fear. It's like atmosphere fear, but it's not the same kind of fear.
It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same as being afraid of the dark or deep water or anything like that.
And that's why people were actually afraid of The Exorcist. But it's hard to put yourself in that mindset because we have way crazier movies nowadays.
Well, and all of us, I mean, We were
we've all
pretty
seen,
young
like, really
when we
fucked up
saw
shit.
like real people die.
Yeah, we've all seen really fucked up shit online that's way scarier than anything we're ever gonna see in a movie.
Like, I remember my uncle trying to convince me Poltergeist was scary, and I was like, I really don't think so. Like,
yeah, my mom thinks that's the scariest movie ever.
It's like
Did you ever watch horror movies when you were like a kid? Like,
oh no,
R-rated ones?
Mm-hmm.
I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer when I was a kid because my brother made me, and you know why that movie was scared? It wasn't because of the visuals. It's just because people screaming. It's so off-putting.
You know what?
It sucks.
I did watch one that wasn't like a horror movie, but it freaked me out. Which was Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events, and the scene where the old woman gets eaten by the leeches.
Yeah,
I still have a fear of like
that's fucked up. Yeah.
Any kind of like worm, like anything but earthworms.
Leeches
like,
and
scare
parasites
the shit out of
in
me.
general are just actually scary.
No, but like I've seen like
as fuck.
if I'm out in a park or like a swamp somewhere, like just walking around chilling, and I see a leech, I will hyperventilate.
Yeah,
like.
This might show my age, but did you guys ever watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure, like Pee-wee Herman?
No.
There's a scene where a woman's face turns to clay animation, and then her eyes pop out, and the scene is Pee-wee gets in a car with her, and so it's like it's dark and scary, and she's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, I need to find my bicycle. I'm Pee-wee Herman. I'm like an adult retard or something. And then she's like, "Oh yeah," and then she's like, "There was a guy. He was like killing people or something." And you're like, what's going on? And then she's like, and then she goes, "What'd he look like?" And she goes, "Like this." And her face transforms to the clay animation. And I would turn it off every time. Because it was like, this is not right. Her eyes shouldn't be coming out like that. And so, but clay animation can actually be really creepy.
Off-putting,
yeah.
Do you ever watch this guy?
It's that
do you watch
Uncanny Valley.
Do you ever watch the guy? He's on YouTube. He used to make Adult Swim animations of Rick and Morty. They're all clay animation, if you remember him. But his actual YouTube channel is just nothing but like grindhouse, gory horror film type stuff with clay animation.
That's awesome.
Like, and sometimes it's like they're scary, and other times they're just like sick. Like he did one that was like The Simpsons. It was called like The Couch Gag, is what he called it, and it was supposed to be a parody of like the film where like the people just like. Robbers just come and make a family just do a bunch of fucked up stuff, and they just kill them one by one. And it was like that, and it was the bullies from like that bully Bart, and they just like came to like Lisa and like scalp her and her like skull showing and shit. And they like make a Homer like they do like fucked up stuff. Like they make people like put guns in their mouths and like blow their brains out. And like the only one who lived, like they kill everyone, like it's all clay animation, so like bloody. They kill everyone like one by one in gruesome ways, and Marge is the only one who survives. And it's like, why did you make this? It's so gross. That's what he does. He has stuff where it's like, I don't know, he just does weird, gory animations, and they're fascinating but disgusting at the same time.
Is he the one who did the one that got all the controversy with like they were like playing drums with babies?
No, but Adult Swim literally loves doing that thing you
that was
about,
definitely Adult Swim. Yeah
that was CGI stuff.
Okay,
it wasn't clay animation, but Adult Swim loves that kind of humor. They love using those stuff for their commercials.
Yeah, and
like I said, Sick Animation makes commercials for them. That clay animation guy makes Rick and Morty commercials for them. That's just what they do. Which, yeah, I forgot, Sick Animation made an Uncle Grandpa cartoon that's officially sponsored by Cartoon Network. That's like, it's Uncle Grandpa and his friends, like, and it's literally just a Sick Animation cartoon, just with no profanity. And he's like, no one acts like Uncle Grandpa characters. Like, Uncle Grandpa just sounds like him.
Hold on, I want to watch that.
We'll watch it, because it's fucking...
Oh, who said that? Me. You like that rotisserie chicken, huh? Shoot, we fixing to start a little team. The Rotisserie Boys.
Well, now, when it comes to rotisserie chicken, I don't know if I'm a team player.
Dude. Yo, Uncle G, I'm loving the new guy. Who is this dude?
The name's Jobo, the Rambling Cat. Thank you, somebody finally asked.
I got a brand new name for the clubhouse. Four Guys.
I saw it pop up on my YouTube, like, I forgot he made an officially sponsored Uncle Grandpa cartoon.
That's so funny.
But he's had connections with Adult Swim for a while, because he used to make the commercials for them. They always have weird people making weird shit like that. But remember that animation I put on the Snapchat that looked like an old like 70s clay animation thing with, and like even like the ratio was like old school.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool, and that just came out. Adult Swim.
I don't think I watched that.
they just fund abstract animations and, with really weird art. They love that shit. So
it's good.
Which Shane already watched it, but everyone should watch Moral Oral.
Yeah.
Super. So it's a amazing artistic show.
Did you ever watch that
also
final
really...
episode I told you
No,
about?
I didn't even watch it.
It's on HBO.
I know, I need to. I keep forgetting. But yeah, it's so good. It's got very crude, immature humor, but if you stick with it, it's very, very good. I promise.
That episode with the gay guy that we all watched together was like, that was really
That's
good.
the whole show.
Yeah.
But then there's the episodes that are really uncomfortable. The episodes that are just like so foul, like when Oral drinks his own piss, or when he puts his semen into all the women in town, so that way he can masturbate. Because if his seed drops on the floor, then it's a sin. But if he uses his seed to procreate, then it's okay. So he jerks off into a like a pastry basket thing, like a
pastry bag.
Yeah, pastry bag, but instead of injecting frosting into women, he's injecting his semen into them. And they all get pregnant. Yeah. Everyone in town has new babies.
Yeah.
All thanks to Oral.
So funny.
I love that show. He gets a cock ring.
Yeah.
I
forgot about that.
It's such a weird show. He does crack.
Yeah, he does crack. He gets addicted to crack. And his dad doesn't even punish him for crack. He punishes him for like not spending money wisely or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But
well, when the episode with the zombie outbreak,
yeah,
he doesn't punish them for bringing back the dead. He punishes them because they're all naked, and that's a sin.
Yeah, I just love the fact that once people discovered what seizures were, demon possessions went to 0.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's
so funny.
Yeah. It's weird, man. There was a woman for Trump who was speaking in tongues, and she was saying stuff like, the angels from Africa are going to help Trump win the election. The angels from South America are going to come help Trump win the election. And then she started saying like, baka chuka baka bo bo bo, like literally speaking in tongues. And I was like, man, this is weird. She's a paid presidential, like she's a paid White House official who's like a spiritual advisor for the president.
Oh yeah. And
she is just fucking speaking in tongues, and I'm like, no, not okay. Speaking in tongues is the most bullshit thing ever. That's totally pure feeding off the energy, like you were talking about.
Right. Well, do you remember from Borat when he goes to the United Pentecostal Church?
I haven't watched the first one in a while.
Okay, so anyway, they go there and they believe that when you accept the Holy Spirit into your body, you start speaking in tongues.
Oh yeah.
And you get like the possessed by the spirit thing.
Yeah,
you like fall down on the floor and yeah. I've been in a church where they did that, and no one warned me that was going to happen. So me and my friend just thought an old man was having a seizure in front of everyone, and no one was doing shit. And so we're all just like sitting there, like freaking out.
Yeah, there was crazy people.
Obviously, they're just acting. They're going along with it.
They're just going crazy. It's like when you believe in like hypnosis and stuff, and like what do you call it? When you're hypnotized. I don't know what.
Yeah, hypnosis. Yeah.
But like it's like you can only do that stuff if you actually want to. Yeah. You can be like in a trance-like state, but like you have to like actually like believe in it, and you have to like allow that to happen to you and stuff.
Yeah, it's like
it's a weird way. It's a weird
like,
thing.
It'll happen if you actually, because your mind's like really powerful. Yeah. So if you truly believe that this is happening to you, it'll happen.
Yeah, it'll feel like you're really doing it.
When your subconscious especially is powerful.
Right, so you'll subconsciously
really
do. You think, but it's just you.
But it's just you acting that way,
Yeah, but you think it is.
And then you tell your friends, "I swear to God, it was real," and it's like, no, you were just doing that, but you don't see it that way.
So they did that to Borat, and Borat starts like laying on the floor going,
yeah, because isn't he just like, okay, I think I remember this. Isn't he just going along with it? Like, he doesn't quite understand.
Yeah, he's like, I'll start speaking in tongues. He's like, yeah, just let that tone go. Just start speaking. Yeah. And he's like, okay. And he's like,
did you guys? I don't remember if
I love that.
If one of you sent it in the chat or if I saw it on Twitter or something. But on Borat, if you go to the DVD menu and try and change the language to Hebrew, it starts flashing a warning saying like "Stay where you are." Like the Department of
I didn't know that.
Of like where's Borat say he's from?
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, the Kazakhstan Department of Jewry or whatever is on its way.
That's so funny.
That's amazing. I had no idea. No, I didn't know that was in there. That's
and
awesome.
then
so funny.
he speaks Hebrew through all the movies.
He speaks like a mixture of Hebrew and something else. So like the Jewish family he stayed with like understood him.
Yeah.
Because they spoke Hebrew, so they could understand some of the shit he was saying, but not all of it. Because it's like a mix of two languages.
Do you think it's interesting how there's a video by an angry video game nerd where he's like, Blu-rays fucking suck. DVDs are better. But not for the right reasons. Blu-rays should be better than DVDs. But for some reason when Blu-rays came out, everyone stopped trying. For DVDs, they would do these interesting menus. They would have like special bonus features and Easter eggs. All sorts of stuff. Commentary, behind the scenes, that they would release with the theatrical trailers. All this shit. And on Blu-rays, it's always, which have way more space, it's always just the movie and the trailers, and that's fucking it.
I remember
it's never anything good.
I remember there was a mini game on like Harry Potter.
Yeah, they put like trivia games and other weird games.
Like
an
actual
if they could, yeah, they would
mini game where you like go to the Diagon Alley and pick out all your shit. It was really cool.
They would put that in like the big time movie releases too.
Shrek had like a karaoke.
Yeah. No, they
like a game.
It was like a thing. It was like if you make a DVD, you have to put in bonus shit. And every DVD had a special, unique menu to where buying the DVD actually was worth it. Because if you were a fan of that movie, you got all this extra atmospheric content for it. And Blu-rays are just like no music at all. Just says play, audio settings. Do you want to watch other trailers to advertise whatever bullshit? It's like, no wonder everyone switched to digital, because there's no point in buying the Blu-ray. Nobody makes it fun. Like, DVDs are really cool about that shit. I hate that.
And digital's basically free, too, so long as you use it enough. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's like... I mean, who even watches movies with physical media anymore? Everyone just... Like, I bought Joker on Blu-ray just because I wanted to own it and put it in display. It's really just a display things at this point.
Every once in a while, I have to watch either a Planet of the Apes movie or a Star Wars movie on VHS.
Oh yeah.
So I've got like the old ones, and that's like, I feel like that's part of the experience with those kind of movies. Like it's a 1970s movie. It's gonna look like shit if you put it in like 4K Ultra HD. Right. It's gonna be like, that's clearly a dude in a rubber mask.
Yeah, you can very clearly see the special effects when you do that.
And when you watch it on VHS with all the lines on the screen and everything, that's part of the watching experience.
Yeah, it can make some things better and it can make other things worse. It just depends on what specific movie you're watching. If you're watching a movie with people wearing rubber suits, it might be better just to watch it in fucking terrible resolution settings. I
feel that way about YouTube too. I don't like the fact that YouTube has so much high quality shit.
Yeah.
High quality video. I think it should go back to like when a creator just gets their like iPhone and
well, sometimes when you watch it and it has the black bars on the side, I'm like, I kind of like this like found footage style.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
That's the way the internet's supposed to be.
Yeah, like all grungy. Well,
exactly.
Well, see, YouTube used to be a place. Now, like you watch like Daily Motion. I think it was called that. There's like weird channels that try to compete with YouTube. And where, like, the rules aren't quite as strict. And, like, you can find weird shit on them sometimes. Yeah. But nowadays, it's like, if you watch a video... Well, that's why webums exist. Because webums are where you can embed it onto a page so you can post anything on video and not have to worry about a streaming service like YouTube.
Right.
But webums are not really a viable way to do things, so... Webums
Some of those are really funny,
They're just glorified GIFs, basically. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that, like... I have to like go track down every once in a while, and it's just this guy sitting there in a ski mask with Monopoly money stapled to his forehead.
Okay.
And he's playing the intro to Stairway to Heaven and talking about how he used to go hang out at the playground and molest kids.
Okay.
And it is the funniest shit out there. Like,
before we end this, I want to tell a story about when I played Xbox Live on the original Xbox with my friend. But did you guys ever like really talk trash online on gaming?
oh yeah.
I still do it to this day. Like so
I've been doing that on Among Us, and these Gen Z kids are like, they don't cyberbully hardly at all.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get it. Like, I'll say something that I'm like, I just devastated him. And he's like, what does that mean? Like, no, like, we were all doing that together. And it's like, you dumb fuck. Like,
my friends really wanted me to play Halo with them, like, literally, last weekend.
yeah.
And so when we finally played a versus match, after the first game, I said, any girls on the chat? And they all said no. And I was like, and someone said why? And I was like, need a girlfriend. And like, whenever we play Overwatch, we used to always be like, ASL, what's your age? Tell me, any girls here? And then like, and then before that, we'd always be like, you guys watch anime? You guys watch? And like, trying to like ask them weird shit. We always try to fuck with people, but like, everyone takes it seriously.
It's that crazy.
No one jokes back with you. It's so weird.
It's that, like, that old school internet was like this crazy punk anarchist place to hang out, and now it's all like refined and shit.
I always do that. I always say like, good game, and they go, yeah, you too, and I go, just kidding, they were terrible. And like, I'll do, even if I'm like last in my team, I'm like, you guys got destroyed. Like, we all had higher kill death ratios than you. I'd be like, yeah, but you're a loser. I'm not. But like, when I was in 8th grade, we had no concept of what's right and wrong, okay? And so I was in 8th grade, and we were playing Halo 2 on his original Xbox, which I think 360 was out, but he didn't have one. And he had the headset, so I was like, dude, we gotta talk shit. And we met these redneck people who kept singing rap songs, and they're like, dude, you guys are trash. We're so much better than you. And I was like, you guys won this game in a game of 4v4, but let's say you do 2v2. And they just absolutely... So we got them in the private game, and they absolutely crushed us. But then they're like, we like your guys' spirit. So then we like kept talking to them all night, and then we got.
That's how I made so many friends. You made friends that way.
We got into an online lobby, and he goes, I want you. You guys are cool. I want you guys to listen to this. And he starts playing. He starts playing "Free Fallin'" by Tom Petty on his microphone, and it's like the shittiest quality. And we're like, what the fuck is he playing? And we were here like, and I'm free falling. And I was like, why is he playing that? Like, we don't know this song. Of course we know this song. Later on, though, I was like, I want to keep talking shit on people. So like, we found a game with like these kids playing Halo 2, and I was like, I'm gonna tell these kids like I love molesting little kids. I'm like 14 or 13.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell these kids that I love molesting little kids, and I added all of them like privately, and then when they'd accept the friend request, I sent them like voice messages, and I'd be like, so you should come to the park later, and I'll take your skin off of you, and then I'm gonna rape you while you're dead. I just started saying like the most fucked up stuff, and then we started singing songs about raping little kids, and we just kept sending it to the same fucking like 3 little kids. We're probably like only a few years younger than us,
right?
And we just kept sending them these videos or like these audio recordings of us being like, we love raping kids. And that's all. I love online trash talk. Is all I can say.
Online trash talk, and they're trying to outlaw that right now.
I know, it's bullshit.
And it's like, no, like, we need that.
It's
like,
not even real bullying. They call it cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is like stalking, harassment,
Yeah.
like,
doxing. Like,
cyberbullying is like when you are constantly fucking with them. I'm only fucking with you till the game ends. I'm never gonna talk to you again.
And it's people you don't know.
Right. People you'll never talk to probably ever again in your entire life.
Did you ever like trash talk someone a bunch in a game, and then you like they leave and you leave the match, and then you end up in the same match together again.
Yeah.
That is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
It's like you just couldn't stay away, could you? And they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, time for round 2, motherfucker. Yeah, when you find them again. You go, I know this name.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
Yeah.
Dude, like, when I was, like, probably 14 or 15, I played this game that was basically old school Call of Duty, but, like, online and everything.
Or something else.
It was like Counter. It was
I mean, a lot of games.
It was called Red Crucible 2.
Okay, I don't.
But it was just a free game that you could play on Facebook, but it was just old school Call of Duty, pretty much. Anyway, there was this guy who was like trash talking everyone, and in that game you could like buy like upgrades to your weapons and everything. And so he was doing that, and he was like slaughtering us. And then this girl, I assume it was a girl, came in. And she was like, hey, like, whatever his username was, like, I know that name. And he was like, what? How? Yeah. And she was like, yeah, I know you from the forums. And he was like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, you're that guy with the weird-shaped head. You posted a picture of your head. And he was like, what? No, my head's normal. And she was like, no, man, your head's fucked up. Like,
I love that
and
stuff.
just bullied him. And then, and she was also like, once she joined, she started slaughtering him. So she would just track him down and murder the fuck out of him and then talk about how his head was shaped.
For some reason, last time we played, you know, Callie, like Dakota's sister.
Yeah.
She started teabagging someone. And then they kept teabagging me because they thought I did it. And every time they killed me, they kept teabagging me. And this one guy just kept targeting me and teabagging me. So then I started targeting him back and teabagging him back. Because in Halo, all you know is their helmets, basically. You can't read their names fast enough.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just started teabagging him over and over and over. And I was just like... And it was, like, weird because he would teabag me and then my partners would kill him. And I'd be like, guys... I'm like, dude, you can't kill me and then teabag me when my partners are going to shoot at you. But he didn't care. He's like, I don't care if I die. I just want to teabag. And I'm like, I'm not even the one who started this. And then, like, after the game, I tried to trash talk him, and he just, like, was like, no, that was a good... It was like, yeah, it was a GG, good game. And
yeah.
And, like, the next game, he did it again. I was like, stop teabagging. So I kept teabagging him back. It's this weird thing where we rape each other's dead bodies.
It's a
really
crazy
weird.
camaraderie that, like, you can only feel with those people.
Yeah.
And then you, like... You know, like, little 11-year-olds will get bullied for being pieces of shit, and they'll cry to their parents, and their parents are like, my child was cyberbullied, and it's like, your kid's a piece of shit, and he got virtually molested for a reason.
There's
Like,
an old Britpong video where he fucking... He's playing, like, a Gmod game, because, like, people do these weird roleplays on Gmod, and he's like, only the cops are supposed to do something, and he, like, comes up and, like, starts tasing him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, you fucking piece of shit. He's like, I'm calling an admin. And he goes, dude, you better stop. I'm calling an admin. Admin's coming. And then, like, 5 people show up. And they're like, what are you doing that? And he's like, this kid's a squeaker. And they're like, sorry, kid. You know the rules. And he starts, like, screaming his head off. And he's like, you guys aren't going to do anything? And like, no. And they all start joining in. And he's like, sorry, kid, you're a squeaker. And they all fuck with him so bad.
early Minecraft days.
Yeah. Early
when it was
trolling and griefing is so funny.
When it was still free to play online, like without having an account on Mojang or anything. My cousin would stay the night, and then we would just hype him up while he just like ran around griefing stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'd tell him what to say. So like he joined this guy's world that was like he made all of it. And he made it to where you could destroy everything.
Yeah.
But he let anyone join, and he would just kick you. And so it was basically like Among Us before that was a thing.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, okay, tell him that guy over there did it. Like, that guy was close enough, he could have done it. And so he just ran around pretending he was reporting all this griefing. He's like, this guy, And so the guy would kick everyone, and then he got really invested in it, like, really, like, ballsy with it. Yeah. And he was, like, piece by piece destroying an entire house. And the guy walked up and just stared at us. and he was like, has it been you all along? And we were like, yeah. And he was like,
did you ever watch
Jesus.
When Donkey would play Counter-Strike or he'd play Rainbow Six Siege and he would shoot someone in the back and go, He did it, and then he'd blow their own team's head. And once he turned back around, he would kill that guy. So like 2 of his own teammates. And like, his Rainbow Six Siege videos are literally just him. Right when the match starts, he starts killing his own teammates. He immediately just starts killing all his own teammates, and they all get so mad because you only get 1 life.
Oh my god!
And they're like, "The other team's gonna win," and he's like, "No, I'm good. I'll do it all on my own." He just kills all his own teams.
I haven't seen that, but that is like
one of those things.
The stuff I live for.
It's so juvenile and simple, but it's literally it's like the same kind of humor. It's just like a fart. Like it's so stupid that it's funny. Like because it's so like wrong.
It's not even like a fart. It's like sharding your pants, and then
it's just like you're not supposed to do this.
And like
I'm gonna do it.
It's not like you farting or sharding your pants. It's like one of your friends does it, and all of you are like, "You just shit yourself," and you just stand there and like laugh.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like that juvenile like, and he's like, "No, I feel really bad, guys. Like it was an accident." It's like, "No, you did it because you like it." And like,
I just love the whole like. I just like when he's like, "Oh, that guy did it," and then
yeah, that guy did it.
or like when they, or like when Oni's playing GTA in a role play, and they're like, he's like, "Yeah, this is a car. I'm selling this car." It's like they're doing real life. He's like, "I'm selling my car that I spent time upgrading," and then Oni like kicks it, and then the cops come, and he's like, "This guy just started beating his car, and he said he's going to tell the cops I did it. I didn't do it." And the cop's like, "I don't know which one to believe." And the guy's like, "What the fuck? Clearly he did it." And then when he runs away. He pulls his gun out and shoots at him. He's like, "Hey, who told you can draw your weapon?" And he's like, "I'm on my property." And he's like, "That's not how it works, kid." Like he's like punishing him the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I love that. I used to fucking watch so many griefing videos growing up, but now it's like that stuff's really hard to find on YouTube now because it's all considered bullying. It is bullying, but it's funny, okay? It's
bullying with no real consequences.
Exactly. No,
unless
it's embarrassing if it's you, but not that embarrassing. Like
it's good to be embarrassed a little bit when you're a kid.
Funny.
That's what makes you a human later in life is whenever you can look back and be like, "Oh man, remember when I like sharded myself in front of that girl?"
I will say,
and like you can just be like, "Oh yeah, like
so
I'm still alive though."
Britbong is kind of canceled because people suspect he's actually like a really bad person. But his Second Life videos where he was trolling people, like so in Second Life they would have like multiple tabs on your profile, and one of them was called First Life, and sometimes people would upload their actual photos.
Yeah.
And he would copy paste their photo and put it in the game. And it'd be like someone who's like really overweight. Like, "This is what you look like." He's like, "You're a fat 40-year-old woman. Ha ha. Everyone make fun of her." And she's like, "Stop that right now."
That's a little bit. I would find that a little bit far.
He
but
was
like
picking on like really old people playing Second Life because they have like no life, nothing going on for them. Which I kind of, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but
I can kind of empathize with that. Like,
but it's so funny.
It's also funny,
It's
but
so
like
funny.
It's like it's like how I feel
I
about
do that, but it's so funny.
the Pokemon Chew guy or whatever, like the
Pokemon Chew.
Chris Chan.
Yeah, Sonichu. Yeah, like Chris Chan.
No, he deserves it.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
He's actually a really bad person. People want to give him a pass because he's autistic, but he's actually like a huge piece of shit and a womanizer, and he's I feel like it's an insult to autistic people to be like, "Oh, he just does it because he's autistic." Everyone says that. I'm like, no, that's not how it actually works. He doesn't even have like he doesn't even have Asperger's. He's literally like he barely even has anything, but like. The autism part, I do think like that's why he's like a man child, but everything else he does that's like really embarrassing and stupid, like autistic people don't drink their own cum mixed with orange soda, okay?
Right.
Like, okay, all right, that's all I'm saying. They don't fuck the snow on video with their like actually taking their dick out and putting in the snow. They don't do those things. Yeah, he does it because he's a fucking dumbass. But yeah, he deserves a lot. Now, does he deserve everything that he gets? No, because some people take it way too far. Like when the 14-year-old boy made him jerk off because he thought it was a girl.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, Chris," and it's such a clear boy doing a girl's voice. And he's like, will you do that thing for me again? And he jerks off on, like, not on video, but it's like, actually, well, they have videos of him jerking off, but he's like jerking off and they're like, I love it when you do that. And then when he comes, he's like, you just jerked off to a 14-year-old boy. And then he's like, what'd he do? He's like, when he thought that was a girl, the same kid doing the girl's voice was like, we have her tied up. We're her brothers. We have her tied up and we're beating her and we're not going to let her go unless you shove your Sonichu medallion up your asshole. And he's like, do I really have to? And he's like, it's your girlfriend. Do you care or not? And he's like, I do. But do I have to put it up my ass? It's your girlfriend, Chris. Are you going to do it or not? He wants to beat her more? And then he's like, all right, fine. And he goes, ow. But the best thing, I know I talked about it before, but the best thing they ever did was when they had a girl show up and meet Chris in person as a date, just so they could have someone else show up wearing a pickle costume and then go, do you want to watch a movie? And Chris goes, well, she's with me. And she goes, no, Chris, I think I want to watch a movie with him. And then after spending like 2 hours with her going, oh fuck, she's a troll and they just trolled me in real life. That was the best thing they've ever done. That's up there with iDubbbz saying the N-word to Tana. That's like up there in like epic moments of troll history. Like that stuff is like that's the best shit ever. I'm sorry, that's just the best shit ever. When you can pull off a scheme like that of that magnitude.
Ow.
Yeah. And oh god, Christian. There's too many things, too many stories. Too many weird stories. Like when they're like, hey, will you send a video of you showing what you would do to me? And, you know, he believes they're a woman. He's like, yeah. And then he starts fucking a blow-up doll. And like, no, but like, and then he's like, you like this, baby? And he starts like licking the air. And he's like, this is what I would do to you. I'll lick your little clit. And he starts like, licking the air.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, okay, this is the funniest shit. Or then there's Liquid Chris, who just pretends to be him. He's like, I'm the real Christian, okay? He's like doing the perfect voice impression. And he's like, no, because you play with a fake Guitar Hero guitar and you think you can play guitar. I'm the real Chris. I play real guitar. And he's playing a song singing with the same, like, disability accent.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the real Chris would have a girlfriend, and I do, and you don't. So you're not the real Chris. I'm sorry. And like everyone online were like, I hate the fake Chris, and they would talk about Christian. He's like, I am the real Christian. He's like, he's a fake Christian. I'm the real Christian.
Funny.
I remember you showing us that.
That's so funny.
They called him Liquid Chris because it's supposed to be like Solid Snake and Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
So they called the real Chris Solid Chris. But he's too stupid. He doesn't understand what they're saying. So like Liquid Chris is the real Chris. And he just kept doing the bit for like 3 years, and then he stopped after years, and then he eventually just came back. It's like, so let me just tell you guys the update.
He made Chris question his entire existence. He was like, wait, maybe I'm not the real Chris.
No, he knew he was the real Chris, but all these people just thought if they just all said that Chris is not the real Chris,
he would believe it.
And he just gets so mad. Just like he used to get really mad when people would draw dicks on the girl, like the Rose Chew, the girl character. Which is funny because now that he's trans, every single character in Sonic 2 is trans now. So now it's actually real that he actually does have it. And he believes that the reason why people kept drawing fan art of her with the dick was because he was being told the truth from another dimension, but he just didn't want to believe it. He rejected the truth, but now he knows the truth that he's actually God, and all the fictional characters that ever existed are in another universe. And every story that's ever been written ever is real in another universe, which that's what he believes.
That's the natural conclusion to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Like, we have 5 more years till she's right there.
Yeah. Where she is Christian. Let's be real.
Yeah. She's just billionaire Christian.
Yeah. Christian was really homophobic, and now he's trans and loves LGBT. She was really woke, and now she fucking hates trans people. So she's like the opposite.
Yeah.
But she's there.
She's like, Hermione's black, Snape is gay, Harry Potter's actually gay.
Everyone's gay.
all the goblins are Jews.
Everyone's gay, but trans people don't exist.
Yeah.
Why were you being so woke? Why were you trying so hard just to throw
Apparently,
all of your credibility away?
She also said that, like, wizards and witches don't poop, or they don't have toilets.
Yeah, no, they don't.
They
poop
didn't.
because
Historically, they didn't have toilets. They would just shit where they
magic.
were.
Yeah.
In
Magic.
She made that canon
away.
with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So
they
now
would just shit and piss in their
all I think about
pants.
is Hermione shitting her pants. And
it
then-
just.
She's just making fetish content at this point.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's all she has now.
Hermione's black and she shits herself, but she's also clean. Like, yeah.
You know one of my
Like, fuck
favorite
that.
videos is when this like guy interviewing Bernie Sanders is like, "What's your house in Harry Potter?" And he goes, "My what?" Because he's like he's one of those stupid ass liberals who like don't understand politics at all.
Harry Potter brunch liberals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time now that Biden's elected, we can all go back to brunch.
Yeah.
I can't wait for brunch again. Not have to worry about anything because nothing bad is gonna ever happen.
Nothing
under
bad
Biden.
has ever happened except for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And maybe Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe, but like,
Yeah, no, Democrats don't do anything bad ever. Not like, yeah. So,
Right.
I wanted this one to be a little bit longer because we said we're not going to talk about Jesus and Trump, and then we talked about Jesus and Trump for 40 minutes. So.
yeah.
We didn't talk about Trump. We
did
I
at
don't
the
think
beginning.
We didn't.
We just glanced over it.
It was like an 8-minute bit
For
on Trump.
We did what I wanted to do, was just touch base. But for Jesus, we
I-
went overboard.
I don't think we talked more about like religion
Yeah,
as a concept and
which I
Well,
thought was
Christianity.
that part's
anyway.
interesting. I'm gonna just leave
Yeah.
everything in. Hopefully, people stick around for the whole thing. I'll clip it. I'll make multiple clips of it.
yeah.
I was gonna make clips of the last one too. I'm gonna make one more clip of the last one before this one gets uploaded. I'm just gonna clip us talking about Always Sunny in Philadelphia because I thought that was one of the best parts of the podcast. Is just us talking about Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So
Love that shit.
it's gonna call it the Always Sunny fan club, and then I just didn't clip it yet, but I'll do it. And this one I'll upload it, and then I'll just put it in like 2 halves of being like all Jesus. I'm gonna upload the whole thing, and I'll upload like everything out,
Jesus.
like different clips of it, and it'll just be really long clips.
All right. Well,
Let's wrap it up.
Wasteland podcast signing out.
Well, was this episode sponsored by anything?
Fiji water.
Fiji water. Hold on.
It's glorified tap water. I think Tibetans just piss in a pool and
This episode's sponsored by Grafton Winery. Grafton, Illinois Winery. That's why we were drinking.
wait, I wasn't drinking, but
I was.
Is that the raspberry stuff?
No, this is the cranberry.
Yeah. That one was good.
Cranberry was good.
Fuck the raspberry.
yeah, it wasn't
Not
drinking.
actually, though, because they're our sponsors. But if they weren't our sponsors,
I wish
Use-
I wish I
use-
could have some kind of input
Yeah.
in this.
Use offer code Shane.
Is
Just Shane.
Shane, okay.
Offer code Shane.
Shane
to get-
18, yeah.
Shane 18. To get a
Shane
what's
can't
your
drink.
birth year?
2002.
That's so weird. to me.
Yeah, that's fucking gross.
02. It's weird.
Why?
Hold on.
It just is.
You were
guys are
born
hotties.
after 9/11?
Yeah.
You were born after Sonic Adventure 2? That's fucked up, dude. You're born after Sonic Adventure 2? That's you don't even know, dude. That's
I mean,
fucked
there's
up.
10 years between the two of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have thought. I just put two together. Been like, oh yeah, 10 years ago. But I just
Well-
wanted to ask him. It's easier than doing math.
Are we not friends now anymore?
No.
I don't think we ever were.
No.
Okay,
Never.
bye. This is the last podcast episode.
Yeah, this is the last one. This is episode 40.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's
10 more
insane.
till 50. Should we do something special for 50?
Let's get fucking wasted.
Okay.
You two.
Let's all do like, we always sit around and like watch YouTube videos before.
Yeah.
Right as soon as like I get here off after work, let's all just take like 30 milligrams of edibles.
Okay.
And then do the podcast.
Yeah.
Once we're
it won't be
feeling
that
it.
hard because we can just now it's easy to get them. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I still have to drive home.
Oh fuck yeah.
I'm sus about it.
Maybe I don't know. We'll
That's
figure
true.
it out. We have time to think about it.
Yeah.
What we should do for the 50th episode.
Something special.
Salvia.
Dude,
Let's all try salvia for the first
if we
time.
do edibles, it'll actually be like.
Let's do DMT.
It'll be really. It might not turn out as good as we think it does when we do it.
It might
Oh,
be
yeah.
really fucking funny though.
I think,
Just because of that, like, just because of the
we
like,
should do it. We should do it.
I think we should do a drunk cast and then an edible cast.
You want me to buy like actual hard liquor, like rum and vodka?
whiskey. We were gonna do that for like your 21st birthday, anyways. Do
Whiskey and cigar.
That's gonna take forever.
what?
Or-
For Shane to turn 21?
We could just do it for 50 instead.
Yeah. Okay.
Whiskey and cigars.
Although at that point we'd
You
also
can't smoke inside,
yeah, and
so you might as well just drink.
we'd have to like stay over
Okay.
if we're gonna get actually like
Yeah,
fucked
that's-
up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
We'll figure this out.
yeah.
We'll have to figure out a situation
We'll
do.
discuss this off cast.
I love discussing it with the give me your input.
Yeah. What do you
should
want
we
to
do?
see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
two of you.
What should we do
That's
as
good
our
for you.
50th?
Sean, what should we do?
Yeah, Sean, come on.
Do you like the idea of a drunk cast?
Come on, Sean.
Or
What's
an
your-
edible
Come
cast?
on, put your address on. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Address and social security number right now.
All right.
All right, in this episode, Shane, take us out.
Wasteland Podcast signing out.
It looked like this.